Welcome to OSM, Operation Safe Mode. Peace be with you. I'm here with my physical and spiritual update for the week. I know that we haven't had a video since my really good news, the PET scan coming back clean, no cancer. The miracle has been given, and now I just need to continue to participate in it through some more treatment. I will be going for my 32nd treatment this coming Friday. That will be the second of the group of 6 with the 2 chemos that I've been taking the last several months. So my health is good. I've been staying healthy. I feel great physically. Still a little bit of side effects the first couple of days, but that's used to that by now. And I had an opportunity to go away for 3 days for a retreat, and that was really helpful, not only for spiritually, but for my mental state and the physical state, just getting out of the routine for a couple of days. And every time I get out of the routine for a couple of days, more than 2 days, I'm always really ready to come back. And that's always a good feeling, that even when you're vacating, you're not retreating, in essence, of trying to get out of the life that you love. So all things are going well, and we're just going to keep plugging along. I'll meet my new doctor, Dr. Tagasia, who is taking over for Dr. Siegel for me. So it'll be interesting to listen to his plan for me for the upcoming months. So we'll know what we're up against and how much more chemo that I'll have to do and where that'll put us. So thank you for the prayers. Continue your prayers for me as I pray for you every day. One of my very close friends who is participating in cancer a lot longer than I have, we've been conversing back and forth and sharing our stories, especially our spiritual stories. When he received the news that my PET scan was clear and I was clear of cancer, obviously, as everyone has been thanking God and happy for me. And then he related a story to me that he said when he heard the news, it made him think of the painting in the Sistine Chapel of creation, the creation of Adam by Michelangelo. And he said that what's interesting about the painting is that God is reaching out to Adam to create him in his image and likeness. But the painting touched him by the fact that Adam too was reaching out towards God, as if Adam was participating in this gift of new creation of man. Michelangelo painted Adam's hand in reverse, mirror image of God's hand, in order to show that we are a reflection, that we're made in the image and likeness of God. But what he thought about was how important it is when we receive that gift of new life and receiving the gift of healing. We're actually being recreated, right, in the perfect image that God had made us in our human nature. Anytime that he heals us or fixes our brokenness, if you will, through the gift of reconciliation, the only way that can happen is if we reach out to him as well. And I thought how beautiful that really is that God can do anything because he is God. His divine will and providence will always take place. But how do we know and experience it with the great love that he gives it if we ourselves do not participate? If we don't reach out to him in prayer, if we don't reach out to him in our brokenness, if we don't reach out to him desiring his divine will, we may miss that exchange. But certainly when we participate in it, just as in that beautiful painting, as you see here, how closely the hands of God and Adam come without touching, because it's God's power coming through himself to us, but yet we have to be a conduit for it. And I really thought about that from my own perspective, that I really truly desire to be a conduit first to God's will in this whole participation in cancer. I became a conduit in prayer, asking for help in my brokenness, not my illness, but my brokenness in the reality of a need for an increase of faith. And certainly reaching out, asking for that miraculous gift. And through the intercession of the saints, the power of that participation became something I was willing to do. So I just wanted to share that with you. I thought that was a beautiful way to look at how prayer works, how we can be confident in the work that God does through us and to us if we're willing to participate with Him. He can reach His hand out to us anytime in grace, in forgiveness, as the great physician in healing. But if we don't reach towards Him as a conduit for that grace that's coming to us, then we miss the opportunity to participate in a new life that Christ gives us. And that new life is not always just a complete healing of the person, but that new life is a new creation that allows us to know that it is in this person and in this form of our humanity that He desires us to continue to walk towards Him and into His divine presence as a disciple of His Son. While I was away on retreat and returned, I returned once again to a huge stack of cards, which kind of caught me off guard. As I opened the cards, most of them were cards of praising God's love for us in answer to His prayers, for the clear PET scan, for being clean of cancer. The other cards that also were a part of that pile were cards about my 35th anniversary as a priest. And when I was reading through the cards, the excitement of sharing in the miracle that everybody had prayed for over a year. You know, you talk about the persistence of the man who comes and asks for a loaf of bread from his neighbor. And Jesus says he gets up not simply because he's asking as a friend, but because of his persistence. There was that real thought of praying for me and for a healing, but praying for me because I was your priest. And that really became evident to me in the anniversary cards that I received, because it was as if saying, wow, you celebrate 35 years as a priest. Now we're confident that we're going to be able to see you celebrate many, many more years serving as Christ's priest. When I thought about that at night in prayer, I realized something that I never understood prior to my illness was the necessity of people praying for the priest. And I really honestly, truly, through this time, felt those prayers. Felt them in the same way as, remember in the story in Exodus, when the Israelites go battle against Amalek. And as long as Moses held his hands up, they had the better of the battle. And as Moses became weary and tired, he couldn't hold his arms up. So Aaron and Hur came and supported his arms and held his arms up, and of course they win the battle. And I can't tell you how many times your prayers felt exactly like that. That I was weakened by the chemotherapy, I was fatigued by it, but never missed a single weekend of masses, hardly missed any real events other than around the chemotherapy days, because I wasn't coming or participating as an individual person in his own will and strength. There were many days that your prayers were Aaron and Hur, holding my arms up. And believe me, I even thought of that as I would hold up the host, that the prayers of your love for your priest allowed me to be there. When I began to share that story with different people, I began to realize something, that in my pride, prior to cancer, I always felt that I could handle whatever came my way on my own. I was physically strong. I felt I was mentally strong. And people, I mean, on occasion, people say, we pray for you, Father. And we kind of just like brush it off and say, oh, thank you. But I never gave those prayers any credence on my ability to do what I was doing as a priest. But after this experience, I realized it's necessary for us to pray for priests. It is so necessary for you to continue to pray for me, not only for my well-being and health, but so that I can be a better priest. I just wanted to read a quote to you by St. Joseph Moscati. He said, "It is necessary to pray for priests because they are so often forgotten, since Christians consider the priests do not need prayers." We need prayers. In fact, we need to know Father Raniel, Monsignor Fitzmaurice, any priest that we may come across paths with. We need to know that you are praying so that we have the strength of the whole community to be its leader, that we have the strength of the whole community to bring about those great gifts of the sacraments. So at the end of this message, I would just really ask you to really pray for priests. And if you're not from this area and you're listening, pray for your priests at home and let your priests know that you're praying for them. It wouldn't be too difficult, as I've experienced here, just to send a card and say, hey, Father, you do wonderful things, we're praying for you. Or, hey, Father, in the times that you feel tired, know that we are with you and holding you up in prayer.